You thought you knew what this trip was going to cost. You saw the number on the screen. Maybe it was $600, maybe $800. It looked honest. It looked like something you could plan around. So you booked it, you packed your bags, and you walked onto that ship with a budget in your head. Then you came home, and the number in your bank account had nothing to do with the number you saw on that page. This video is not about the ocean views, or the poolside drinks, or the ports that look like postcards. This is about the part nobody calculates before they go. The real cost of a 7-day cruise, every dollar, every line item, laid out clearly, so that the next time you book, you know exactly what you are walking into. The advertised price is not a lie. It is simply the beginning of a much longer conversation. A 7-day Caribbean cruise on a mainstream line, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, typically starts between $500 and $1,200 per person. That fare covers your cabin, your meals in the main dining room, and the entertainment the ship provides every evening. Taken on its own, that is genuinely good value. A week of accommodation, food, and nightly shows for that price would be difficult to find anywhere on land. But the moment you confirm that booking, something begins happening quietly in the background. Costs start attaching themselves to your trip, one by one, before you have even thought about what to pack. The first edition arrives before you leave your driveway. Port fees and taxes are mandatory charges that every cruise passenger pays, regardless of which line they sail with or which cabin they choose. Every country whose waters your ship enters charges a docking fee, and that fee is passed directly to the passenger. On a standard 7-day sailing, this adds $100 to $200 per person to a fare that was already advertised as the full price. There is no way around it, no tier of loyalty status that waives it, no promotional code that removes it. It simply appears on your bill, and the advertised price becomes less accurate the moment it does. Gratuities follow, and they arrive automatically. Most mainstream cruise lines charge between $16 and $20 per person per day in automatic gratuities. On a 7-day sailing for 2 passengers, that amounts to between $220 and $280, added to your onboard account without a single conversation or confirmation. Many passengers do not realize this charge exists until they review their final bill on the last morning of the cruise. It is not hidden, it is disclosed, but it is disclosed in the kind of language that is easy to read past when you are excited about a vacation. Before you have stepped foot on the gangway, before you have seen the ocean from the deck of the ship, the cost of your cruise has already grown well beyond the number that made you click. What comes next surprises more. First-time cruisers than anything else on the ship. Beverages are not included on most mainstream cruise lines. Basic water, drip coffee, and juice are available in the dining areas. Everything else, cocktails, wine, beer, specialty coffees, sodas purchased at the bar, carries an individual price tag. A cocktail runs between $13 and $17. A glass of wine costs $12 to $15. A soda at the pool bar, $3 to $5 each time. Cruise lines are fully aware of what this means for passengers, which is why drink packages are marketed aggressively from the moment you book. These packages run between $80 and $110 per person per day. For 2 people over 7 days, purchasing drink packages costs well over $1,000 before the ship has left the port. Passengers who decline the package and purchase drinks individually rarely spend less. Research consistently shows that the average cruiser spends between $400 and $700 on beverages across a week, buying round by round, never quite tracking how quickly it accumulates. At every port the ship stops, an opportunity is waiting, and so is a price markup. Shore excursions offered directly through the cruise line are convenient, professionally organized, and consistently more expensive than the same experience booked independently. A snorkeling tour that a local operator in Cozumel charges $65 for will appear on the ship's excursion, page at $120 or more. A guided city tour that runs $40 at the port costs $90 through the cruise line. The gap is not occasional. It is consistent across destinations and across cruise lines. For 2 passengers taking organized excursions at 3 or 4 ports across a 7-day sailing, this category alone commonly reaches $700 to over $1,000. It is the line item that catches the most people off guard because it feels optional right up until you are standing at a port with a few hours and no plan. Internet access is the cost that modern travelers underestimate most. A generation ago, being unreachable for a week felt like part of the vacation. Today, most people need connectivity for work, for family, for simply staying oriented. Cruise ships charge between $25 and $35 per day for Wi-Fi access. Over 7 days, that approaches $200 for a connection that, on most ships, is noticeably slower and less reliable than what you use at home. Passengers pay it anyway, because the alternative is a week of complete disconnection that most people are not prepared for. Specialty dining deserves honest attention because it is designed to be difficult to resist. The main dining room is included in your fare. The food is good, but cruise ships are also home to steakhouses, sushi restaurants, tasting menus, and chef's tables that are not. These venues carry per person cover charges ranging from $30 to $150 per visit, and they are positioned on the ship with intention. You walk past them, you see other passengers inside, you read the menu posted at the entrance. Most cruisers who said they would not pay for specialty dining end up inside one of those restaurants at least once or twice before the week is over. over. And then there is the full picture of what it actually costs to take a cruise. Costs that rarely appear in any official breakdown. The hotel room the night before departure, because arriving at the port on the same day as your sailing is a genuine risk that experienced travelers learn to stop taking. Airport transfers in both directions. A week of parking at the cruise terminal, which runs between $20 and $40 per day at most major ports. Travel insurance, which becomes less optional the more you spend on a trip. Souvenirs, poor purchases, the small decisions made in the moment that never feel significant until they are added together at the end. When every number is placed side by side, the base fare, the port fees, the gratuities, the beverages, the excursions, the Wi-Fi, the specialty dining, and the full cost of getting to and from the ship. A 7-day cruise for two. Passengers on a mainstream line lands somewhere between $4,000 and $7,000. Not $600, not $800. The real number. The one that was always waiting at the end of the trip. None of this is an argument against cruising. For what a cruise delivers, multiple destinations, a moving hotel, 3 meals a day, nightly entertainment, and the kind of trip that genuinely cannot be replicated on land for the same price. The value is real. Cruising remains one of the most efficient and rewarding ways to travel. For the right person, with the right expectations. The passengers who come home feeling misled are almost never people who overpaid. They are people who planned for an advertised number instead of a real one. They budgeted for the price on the screen and not for the trip they were actually taking. You now have the real number. Cruising is not expensive. Not knowing the real cost is